And welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live here at Citizen Television. You won't believe what happens behind the scenes.
What stays in the toilet stays in the toilet. What happens in the toilet stays in the toilet.
My God, if only they knew what happened. Yeah. What?
For the memoirs.
Yes.
Your next book.
Absolutely. In the meantime, we're talking about a very serious subject. And Maria Sarungi is out there in her house. And I asked you before the break, Maria, I said, are you afraid to go out to the store to buy vegetables, to the grocery store, to supermarket? Do you feel the fear since Sunday?
Well, I definitely do. And it's just because I don't know at what point and where who is observing me, so there is that fear. You asked also a question, Jeff, around being recognized. I mean, I'm used to that in Tanzania. I lived actually an excellent life because I was not that well known or recognizable in Kenya, but I am actually not that fearful because of that. As I said, I have nothing but admiration for the people of Kenya, and I feel sometimes, that could be a way for me to feel safer because, as I said, the Kenyan people are really incredible. But talking about memoirs, if you allow me a little bit, also to have some comments on that. Actually, because Charles talked about the fact that he's Luo, and I talked a little bit about that. I think there is a linkage between Tanganyika, and I like that you used the word Tanganyika, and Kenya in terms of having a history in many of the struggles, including some of Kenya's earlier struggles for multipartyism and the new constitution. And just for a very quick reference, in Raila Odinga's biography, my father has been mentioned, was a medical doctor and also attended to his father, to Raila's father. So there is that, and there is a lot of Kenyans who at that time were studying in Kenya, like former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga and others. So I think that kind of cross-border supporting each other has always been there. And, that's why you need to, excuse me, even though I know you're very keen to talk about Kenya, I will keep bringing it in because I feel sisi ni majirani na lazima tupendane, lazima tushirikiane. And I think that when it comes to abductions, the whole region has to be able to find a way forward. And Kenya is the country that can lead the way. I'm very, very confident about that because I feel you have a very strong constitution. I feel the people are very much aware, educated, and you have institutions, including civil society, that is ready to take the bulls by its horn. The abductions in Tanzania, unfortunately, have remained a little known, almost dominated, as I said earlier, by basically a repressive regime. Uganda is also not looking very good, but abductions have to stop. You cannot have people being taken either for criticizing or just not being, liked by a person in power. It could be rogue elements, and I've heard that being discussed, and that is a very serious problem as well. But if that is the case, the system needs to be cleaned up. And that, again, I say, is very important for the region, and Kenya needs to lead the way. Thank you.
Absolutely, no doubt. And Irungu, there's some very disturbing graphics that you just got. We're going to put up right now, and you can talk us through that, right? And it was saying.
Yeah, so I wanted us...
missing persons support lines.
Yeah, it was really, I think it's really important at a time like this that people know how to respond and to protect each other from abductions. And one of the best support lines is the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. And they basically put this up back in June, July, and it's still relevant. The toll-free line is 0800 720 627, and the SMS is 22 9. I think it's really important at a time like this, not just for the public to memorize these numbers, but I think even law enforcement officers, people who are concerned about unlawful activity, that they use these numbers to keep people safe. As we said, there are 25 missing persons still unaccounted for related to the protests, and those are obviously 25 people too many.
Yeah, 6 months later. Again, the SMS number is 22359. And the toll-free hotline is 0800 720 627. Charles Owino, going forward, what needs to be done? How can we bring back the sanity out of all this madness?
I think the madness lies on how we manage our differences or issues. Most importantly, we need to sort out our basic problems. Number one, we have a lot of challenges. Our population is growing very fast. Currently, Kenyan total population, the youth population is 70%. And the level of unemployment is very high. And you can see government is trying to also do quite a lot to ensure that we improve on our agriculture, we improve on our health sector, and you know, because of Kenyans' awareness, even in terms of our internet connectivity, our social media, and there's nothing you can do. You know, a lot has changed. All these people have phones, they have gone to school, they are well educated, people are getting information on the spot. The government has pledged about 100,000 kilometers of cyber optic, meaning that we are going to expand on internet connectivity and awareness. And this therefore means that there's nothing you can hide. But what we must first of all agree is on patriotism. And we must also understand that we have been very lucky as a country, that our democracy has gone a little bit higher. But what we need to understand is also how are we going to handle our security agencies. Remember, majority of our officers are extremely good, highly professional, doing their work. I'll start with our current IGP Kanja. He's a humble guy. He's a guy who listens. I believe a number of times you have reached out to him, and he listens to people. The DCI is highly professional, an officer with a lot of experience in his work, and we can do a lot together. The director NIS, unfortunately, we are overexposing nowadays our secret agencies, but also highly experienced, started from the Office of the Attorney General, joined the NIS department, got his experience, went to DPP, has come back. So we have structures, but we must be wary of how we want to manage issues. And I've said, let us bring up our children fairly well. Let us not say that there are certain things which are petty and they are jokes, but equally the political class, the government, people who are in position of leadership must also ensure that they are not trapped into a situation where we are going to be unnecessarily exposed. There are certain things which are not necessary. And I've just said it, that a lot is being done so that if there is anybody who has been in police custody, then those officers involved will have to account clearly on how, why, and where we are. Okay. Equally, if there are people who have taken advantage of maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people who have been arrested for various reasons to go and hide themselves, as other groups are claiming, I don't want to say that, but there are also a group of people who are saying some people must have taken advantage. And Jeff, I can tell you a very sad story. There's a very interesting narrative from the community where I come from. Yes. They are saying, now Raila has stopped mobilizing Kenyans to protest. He has asked for a job in AU, and some group of Kenyans are not happy. They want to spoil the name of government, to portray this government undemocratic, brutal, and so on and so forth. All these are narratives. All these narratives are not necessary. We are one country. We are one nation. We need to work together. We need to work as a team. I've known Irunga, and we've worked together for a very long time. And we would want to sort out our internal problems professionally.
I've known him longer than you. I've known him longer than you.
Yes, but
I've known him for 40 years.
Yeah, you might have gone to school. I was.
We met in still a baby.
We met in kindergarten.
No, you were still a baby.
No, how old are you?
You don't want to know.
No, I need to know. It may not.
How old are you?
You may not be so much older.
How old are you?
I'll be 55 this year.
Oh God, you're young. You people are young.
No, that is not young.
I'm almost 60.
But that is what the difference is that.
It's fine.
We were in primary school together.
No, you were behind me.
Yes, but we were in primary school together.
I was probably bullying you.
I agree, but we were in primary school together, we were in high school together.
Okay,
Jeff,
let's go to feedback.
But Jeff, no, do us a favor.
What's that?
Do us a favor.
Tell me.
Ask Kenyans to unite.
We'll do that. Let's get some feedback. We'll get the unity in a bit.
Jeff.
Charles, hold that thought. Hold the unity.
Jeff.
Let's get some feedback. Oseno Mark says, these abductions are a gross breach of the constitutional order. Whatever the perceived offense, let the law be followed. No amount of explanations can justify this kind of lawlessness. We can't defile the Constitution we fought hard for. Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Do we agree? We all agree, obviously. We all agree. Thank you, Oseno. That's very good. Jethro Mwangi says, what does Charles Owino have to say about Farah Maalim's altercations in front of the president? Ha! We didn't talk about that. Your thoughts?
Politicians are always politicians. And let me tell you.
Spoken like a true government spokesman.
And let me tell you, if you're not careful about politicians, but I can assure you, the security agencies will not allow politicians to do us in. I can assure you.
Okay, Charles, let me remind you. He first said he would have killed 5,000 Gen Zs, right? Irungo, am I wrong?
Yeah.
He would have mowed down, or whatever it is, 5,000 Gen Zs. Now the other words he said the other day are unprintable.
But let me ask you, we agreed here. Every market has a madman.
So why allow him? Why allow him?
He has not been allowed. Who said he's been allowed?
He was there in front of the president. Come on.
What could the president do? When he's making a lot of money? No, you can't shut him down. You just subject him to record a statement and punish him thoroughly. You know, we don't want careless talks anymore.
Charles, that's not right.
No, we don't want careless talks anymore.
Yeah.
We must agree on that, Jeff. No more careless talks, no more incitements.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. You agree then. Thanks, Jethro. Roy Julius says, yes, indeed, abductions are taking place in Kenya, and it's a serious thing which needs to be dealt with. As much as we discuss this matter, lest it becomes a diversionary tactic, we still want the IEBC in place. Good Lord. We forgot about that, didn't we?
Next week, we can come back.
Thank you. IEBC. Very important.
Yes.
Charles?
Yes. There are constituencies which have stayed without MPs for long.
MPs?
It's true.
Which means there's no CDF,
yeah,
there's no development, there's no... but
the money is kept.
It's a disaster.
Disaster, exactly. Thank you, Poi.
But we must ask ourselves.
Lady Free says, honestly, Kenyans need answers. There's definitely foul play because all the abductions have officers masked like terrorists. Bodies of some abductees have been found dumped, others mutilated. During our peaceful protest, we saw officers masked. Why is that? And Maria, that's what happened. I mean, they were masked. You said baseball hats, and you couldn't see their faces. You couldn't see a thing, right?
Sorry, technology. Yes, I couldn't see a thing, and as I said, one is the only one of them before they put me in the car. I was trying to look so hard, and I just couldn't see anything, just the eyes. The rest I couldn't even make out, even if I would meet them today on the street.
And I know this is something that we see on Netflix in movies and stuff, but Maria, this must have really scared the bejesus out of you.
But
hold on, Charles.
Really much, yes, definitely. In fact, talking about it, I think one of the trauma was that evening. I was trying to sleep and I stayed awake for hours, and I think I slept like 3 hours. And then afterwards, I tried the following day to sleep, and one of the things that came to me just before I fell asleep was that experience of towering over me and dragging me, and I woke up. So there's a lot of that, and I know that definitely I will need a lot of support on that. That has been really I can't think of any other experience where I was so terrified as that day.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's carry on. More tweets coming in thick and fast. Kiberenge says, Charles Owino must be reminded that there is no difference between external terrorists killing Kenyans and local terrorists abducting people, keeping them in torture chambers and killing them. We expect Owino to defend the law, not abduction.
I defend the flag of the Republic of Kenya.
Oh, good.
And the Constitution.
Okay, so the law.
Is this man gunning for a job, or what is he doing? Okay, Victor Muzuke says, government officials purport to be objective concerning the abductions discussion, but they comfortably tell us that the sky is purple because they must defend failed government institutions. How is that objective? Yeah, you just said you're defending the flag of Kenya. The sky is purple. That's you, Charles. Is the sky purple?
You know, Jeff, I've been used to these things for many years. I've always been on the other side. Yeah.
All right, next. 360 Look says, why is it hard to summon persons of interest to police within a reasonable time frame instead of hunting them down like robbery with violence suspects? Interesting. Next. This is a very sad story from the Tanzanian activist. I cannot control my tears. No one is safe anymore. Not an elected leader, nor a son of a CS. Maria, that goes out to you. And Esther says, Jeff, you know, Kitambo, we as citizens, we used to fear thieves. But nowadays, we fear the so-called police officers, where we are supposed to feel safe and secure. But it is unfortunate. And Irungu, you were talking about this earlier on. You said you don't feel safe anymore. You don't feel safe.
No, I think we did a poll now. Most people would say that they are actually extremely insecure. They feel extremely insecure at the moment.
Can we ask the police to suspend their services for an hour?
Which ones? Which police service? The ones who are abducting people?
No.
Or the ones that are protecting us?
The guys with the masks?
They fear
the ones with the masks, they could even suspend for 6 months to a year.
Kenyans are saying they fear the police.
Yes.
So I'm saying, why don't we suspend police services?
Not all.
Not all.
But when you say police is police.
No.
So again, you are changing.
There are units that have specialized in abducting Kenyans.
So you agree police are doing a marvelous job.
Okay, next. It's Kiplating says, we cannot say Kenya is safe when citizens are abducted in broad daylight. The Kware, Shakahola, Yala River victims are yet to get justice. Let's not hide our head in the sand saying all is well. You hear that, Charles? Don't bury your head in the sand saying all is well.
Not me.
One more. It's Kiplating says no,
the same one.
I just read that. Is that the one? Are we done? Okay. All right. We're going to get some last final thoughts going forward. Maria, let's start with you, please. Going forward, tell us, despite what happened to you 4 days ago, are you optimistic? Are you okay? Do you feel okay? I mean, what do you say going forward and all you see and hear?
Yes, I think for me, again, rightfully, my situation is very different in the sense that the option of saying that I'm going home is not there. Primarily because as a journalist, and I know, Jeff, you understand that, it's very difficult to work in that environment. But more importantly, I was personally targeted even before my businesses were shut down. And of course, it was difficult to operate. But I also think that the abductions that are continuing in Tanzania makes it very clear, and the fact that there was a bold move, in my view, to come and abduct me across the border is, for me, a very clear sign that is not an option. But what is an option for me is to continue to work in proximity in the region. I do not believe that it is, for me, an option really to retreat. I will continue with my work. But for specifically about my safety, as I said, there are some serious talks that we're having in terms of assessment, but at the same time, I'm having friends coming up and saying, you'll be fine, don't worry. And I have another lot of friends, mostly who are non-Kenyans, who are saying, you know, maybe you should think and move. So I'm torn between two sides, but my Kenyan friends are saying, you'll be okay, we'll protect you, don't go. So I want to say again, truly the spirit and the being of Kenyans is incredible. Like, the Kenyan people really have touched me, and I want to thank them again and again. I will make my conclusion after some consideration, but for now, I will remain.
Excellent. Thank you, Maria. That's very encouraging. We really appreciate that. Charles Owino, closing thoughts going forward.
I say we must remain patriotic. What is bad must be pointed out, but let us not politicize security work and security agencies. It's important that we work together with senior officers who are in place. We are aware that the Director General NIS has been a target of politicians. I don't know what he has specifically not done that is right, that is not right for them. You've had those pronouncements. Even when the former Deputy President was still in office, he attacked that office directly. But this is our secret agency. A very important agency for collecting intelligence and also counterintelligence, and therefore it is important that we give them moral support. But that does not mean that if there's a mistake, then we don't point it out. Equally, I would like to say that political leaders need to look at the country in its holistic nature and get legal ways and formal ways. Let us uphold our democracy as much as possible. And as I said, two mistakes don't make a right. If you feel that government is not doing the right thing, it does not mean that you also make another mistake that would otherwise have put us in a very bad situation. I've just given an example of Sudan, where you know very well that a lot of people got excited. They removed government unconstitutionally, and how many years down the line that things are not working. So we cannot push Kenya to that level. We are lucky. We have an opportunity to move forward. It's just 1 year, 2026, 2027, we have an opportunity to elect another government. Let us be organized. Let us give government opportunity to work. Let us also control ourselves in what we say. We cannot block Irungu from doing his work. He must still do his work. But Irungu, my humble request is, where people are going wrong, even the younger generation, let us learn on how we need to communicate. I'm impressed with Maria. Despite the ordeal, despite the experience she has had, you can see she's talking in a very balanced way. And I'm not saying that I said I'm a parent. I can equally have a similar problem. But what we are saying, let us not weaponize community against government. Let us support one another, and let's move forward. Those careless talks, whether you are supporting government, you don't need to make careless, reckless statements.
Okay.
And whether you are in opposition, you equally don't need to do that. This country is important to us, and it's a safe haven. Everyone is running here, and we cannot afford to destroy this country.
Irungu Houghton, you get the last word.
I'm sure you'll get the last word. But let me be very clear. Yeah. I don't think Kenya faces a parental problem. I don't think it is also primarily a criminal justice problem. I think what we have is a political problem. And the state, I think, can move faster, it can listen better, and it can act on some of the concerns that are very publicly being expressed in different parts of the country. Unless it does that, I think the anger, the disappointment that I hear daily with Shif, Shah, and a range of other policies will not go away. And I think it'll be impossible to essentially govern by consent. There are three ways, I think there are three paths for Kenya at the moment. There is either constitutionalism, we follow the rule of law, or there is authoritarianism, where we depart from the rule of law and just go for the rule of might. And then the third one is anarchy. And I think, I would say just, Charles, very directly to you that Amnesty always chooses the path of constitutionalism, right? Encourages it, finds ways of resolving disputes. But I think one of the things that we would have to, point out that abductions, which is the topic of tonight, is a complete opposite of what we need to do in this country. We cannot defend the Constitution or even defend individuals who are being targeted by large numbers of cartoons, silhouettes, and artificially generated images by essentially breaking the law. So I think we have to say that we need to navigate this period with the law. The other point I just wanted to say is that, and it's really important that Maria came on today because I heard something different in the way that she presented it, which is that we have an obligation to our neighbors, to our guests, the people who come to live here, that they should not be subjected to lawlessness and violence. And I think, that's the message I think I take away from this evening. The other message is that there is tremendous, faith, patriotism, and even love in the testimonies that we hear from people who have been abducted. You can't imagine what it must be like to be held for 30 days, 32 days, for 2 weeks, and then come out feeling so betrayed by your government that actually resources that you paid for, because let's not forget that all the resources that go into abductions are paid by taxpayers, that those resources were weaponized against you, and still believe that this is a country that we can believe in, not want to leave, and also want to build. So I just want to say, whether it be the testimonies of the abductees, whether they be the whispers in police stations and in different government offices where they say, we are not facing the right direction. Let us encourage people to continue to speak up, to demand a better governance, and also to demand better human rights for all people in this country.
Sarungi Houghton, Charles Owino, Maria Sarungi, thank you so much for coming out tonight to talk about this very important subject. And all I can say from my point of view is don't stop. Don't stop. Yes, you'll get your vacation on one point, Irungu, but don't stop. These kids need you. Maria, your colleagues need you. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. Charles, I know you like a unified nation, but we got to do it the right way. That's the bottom line, folks. We've got to continue this conversation. Whether we like it or not, whether it's uncomfortable or not, we're going to keep talking. Because I keep saying, let's keep talking. The moment we stop talking is the moment we start fighting. And you don't want to go down that slippery slope. Thanks so much for being a part of JK Live. Every Wednesday, it's all about those 3 letters on the keyboard that follow each other. JKL. Good night, good luck. God bless you all. God bless this beautiful country of ours, Kenya, and Maria's own country, Tanzania. Or is it Tanganyika?
Tanganyika.
Na hiyo pia. Tanganyika.